Welcome to the video. This is Matt from Dream Hill Homes. We help people become vacant land owners. Today, we're going to chat about a 40-acre parcel, a little over 40 acres, 40.8. It actually has 37.8 buildable acres, and I'm going to get into it with you and show you exactly what that means, but it's a large property. It's actually 4 parcels in one, so 4 roughly 10-acre parcels, and I'll show you what that looks like on the map. You know, pricing's here in the upper right. This might change by the time you're watching this video. It might be different on the website, so just make note of that. And if you like this property, the very first step, I get this question a lot, the very first step is to reserve the property, and it allows us to start the paperwork. The paperwork is the first step. We do not send sample paperworks. Unfortunately, we have to do custom paperwork for each person. So you can just click this big red reserve button and reserve the property to get started. So what is this all about? So, you know, this one, very cool property. It's 4 in 1. So let's take a look on the map, show you where it is. So it's right between Altus Avenue, Rotan Road, and north of Camelot Boulevard here in Kern County. So it's kind of this square right here where the red dot is in the middle. If you notice, there's kind of this diagonal looking road-ish piece going through here. This is actually a utility easement. So you can't build on the utility easement, but you can, you know, kind of walk across it, use it as a yard, whatever. So just keep that in mind that, you know, a portion of this, about, I want to say roughly 3 acres of the entire roughly 41 acres. 3 of that roughly is a utility easement. So you wouldn't be able to build on that section, but you can still use it. This does have physical and legal access along these platted roads. So they're not, you know, official big roads yet, but they are kind of sketched in here. So I'd recommend, if you're going to want to own this property, have an SUV or truck. Don't buy this if you are owning a Prius and you're going to head out there on a weekend. You might get stuck in the sand. So just be mindful of that. If you zoom out a little bit, I can show you where this is. You know, some houses down here on Camelot with power. There's some power running along Camelot. So power nearby. Other utilities would be completely off-grid. So this, I would consider off-grid property. Power's nearby. You'd want to account for, this is a well water neighborhood. This is a septic system neighborhood. So you got to account for those things. There aren't public utilities in this area. There are some public utilities down the street as far as stormwater, and there are power lines, public utilities on Camelot. So they're not currently connected. You'd have to extend them to get to the property if you wanted to build someday. There are some other people farming in this area. It's zoned A1, but if you zoom out, we're right next to Mojave Airport. This is why I'm excited about this land. It's in a cool proximity to civilization. You got hotels, grocery stores, markets, you know, a lot of options next to the Mojave Airport, as well as some growth happening here on the 5814 area here. So there's some transportation hub going in and some other stuff happening in the area. So, you know, some stuff happening. Is it going to blow up overnight and be like the next hub? No. So, you know, this is, you know, just telling you what I know right now. You know, some growth in the area. You're about 2 miles from the 14. I could just show you roughly, you know, 2.07 miles from the freeway. So nice short drive from the freeway. If you're coming from Los Angeles to the south, you know, you're looking at about an hour and a half drive, depending on where you're coming from in Los Angeles, you know, straight up the 14. You could take the 5 and kind of branch off of the 138, but I think taking the 5 to the 14 makes the most sense. And that's the area. You got windmills to the west. You got freeway open space to the east. You got some houses to the south, and then to the north, kind of wide open space here, all the way up to, you know, the 58 freeway up near Warren, Tehachapi area. So hopefully that makes sense. I wanted to show you on the county map now where the parcel lines are. You got Altus Road, Rutan, which I think is 40th, and then Camelot Boulevard. So it's these 4 parcels here, 37, 38, 39, 40. All of this together is roughly 40 acres. You know, minus the easement, you're looking at 37.8 acres usable. It's zone A1, limited agriculture. What's that mean? Well, let's take a look at it. You could do limited agriculture, just like it says. So some types of farming, single family dwellings, manufactured homes. You could do RVs while you're building if you have a permit, things like that. So, you know, there's a lot of things you can do on ag land or A1. even though it says limited, you can do a lot more than generally like some of the residential zoning. So there's a lot you can do with this, including regular building. So there's just more things you can do with the A1 versus just regular estate zoning. And here in utilities, like I said earlier, power poles down the street, you need to extend them or figure out alternative power. So this is not completely in the middle of nowhere. There is some stuff going on in this area, but that's basically the gist. Here's some photos of the actual property. We're trying to get some aerial photos of the area. We don't have them at the moment at the time of this video, but we will be adding them as we get them. You can see this is kind of towards the middle of the 40 acres. And if I scroll this way, you can kind of see there's some old fence in the distance. There's the road, kind of the pipeline cutting through here. That yellow thing has to do with utilities, this little yellow piece. Probably hard to see on the video, but you know, this is one of the dirt roads out here. And this is the view. So you got a lot of views in this area. So Golden Queen Mine to the north there. You can kind of see what that looks like. So that's pretty much it for this property. I just wanted to share my excitement in the size of this property and also that it is already subdivided into 4 pieces. So if you were a speculative type of person, wanted to buy and hold, wanted to maybe sell 1 or 2 off at some point, you might be able to, you know, get a better price by selling them individually. So that's why we're listing this as all together. Again, if you do want this property, first step is to call us or reserve the property with this big red button. You can also call us in the top right. Our phone number is up here in the top right of the website. And, you know, one thing to note, you know, this is a very large property. If it's your first time owning, you know, maybe you would just want to get one. I would say that we are listing these individually as 10-acre parcels. So if one of them goes, this 40 acres is no longer going to be available. So if you want larger acreage at a discounted price, give us a call because these don't come up very often. And I share this every time we get a larger parcel and it always ends up selling and somebody ends up missing out and they call me a month late and they say, hey, Matt, what happened to that big acreage? It's gone. So just note that these 10-acre parcels do sell. So we're going to list these individually. If they sell, that's it. And then there's just 30 acres left, then 20, then 10. So they're going to sell at some point. So if you are interested or curious in this property, give us a call. Again, all of the financing information, if you wanted to do owner financing, it's listed down here. All of this is flexible. So if you say, hey, I wanted to put a little less down or a little more down, we can kind of fit this, make it custom to you, what you want, what you prefer as far as the terms here that are listed. So that's it for this video. Again, my name is Matt. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you want to give us a call, number again is in the top right. Talk to you soon.